Hi, am I on the air?
Yep.
Fuck.
Thanks.
I've been in the danger zone.
He got a bath.
Minus 5 stars.
Mango.
Huh? Yeah, we got for you.
Jeff Harvey.
How much is this guy worth?
Play.
We'll play 21.
Fucking.
Red Dragon!
Well, what is going down, everybody? Welcome back to a very special edition of Am I Still on the Air? Yes, it's been a minute since we've done an Am I Still on the Air? This, of course, as you should know by now, is the spin-off project of my main show, Am I on the Air, where we bring you up to speed with the latest and greatest of entertainment news every single week. Every once in a while, we like to do an Am I Still on the Air, which allows us a forum to focus on a very specific topic. Typically, we do spoiler reviews. We talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC Cinematic Universe, all kinds of stuff that comes up. If we want to get together, discuss, that's what an Am I Still on the Air is about. Just the last one I did was probably about close to 2 months ago now, which was the Rock Rolls, and we were breaking down the whole, filmography of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which was a really fun episode to do. So if you haven't checked that episode out yet, go check it out. But tonight we are here to discuss the summer movie season of summer 2016. We've done this for the last couple years. We get through the summer movie season, and then we break down, after it's all said and done, how the movies panned out. We rank them, based on every movie we've seen. Now, I don't leave anything out. We literally will rank out every single movie we saw over the summer, which, of course, began back in May with Captain America Civil War and ended at the end of August, pretty much with Don't Breathe. So, lots of films, and I'm joined tonight by my buddy over here, Mr. Geeky Pat from This Week with the Geek. What up, man?
What up, Geek Nation?
Geek Nation.
Good to be back.
Yes, it's good to hear you again. He's on a little hiatus right now on his solo show. So, this was fun to get together and do these kind of things and get back on the air. We've done new Red Dragons Assembled episode a couple of weeks ago, so definitely check that out with me and Geeky Pat and Peeps. If you haven't listened to that latest episode, Magnificent Memories, available on reddragonsradio.com. But tonight, me and Geeky Pat, since, we're the movie-going guys over here, and we pretty much head out almost every Friday and check out the latest and the greatest of what's going on in movie theaters. So we've seen most of these movies together. I have seen a couple more because I watch the horror movies, and Geeky Pat does not appreciate the horror films.
Not so much. If it's Ash versus the Evil Dead or Ash anything, I'm pretty good at it. Zombies is all right. Some classics, remakes, but mostly not so much.
Mostly not so much. So he's out on those. So he's got 16 movies that he saw over the summer. I think the only movie he's going to have on his list that I don't is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, which, I'm trying to watch now. It's actually out on Blu-ray, and I need to watch it now. He went and saw this one without me, and I'm still holding a grudge on that one. But
it was one of the kids' thing or something. I don't remember, but it was good.
Yeah, well, I'm happy for you. But so he's got 16 movies. I actually have 20 when you put everything together, with the couple extra films that I saw that he was not able to get to. So the way we're going to kind of do it tonight is we're going to count down. Literally, I'm going to count down from 20. He's going to count down from 16. And the way we're going to break it down is I'm going to start off first. I'm going to count down my bottom 5, so 20 through 15. And then Geeky Pat will, do his 16th one, and we'll get on the same page, and we'll be in our top 15 there. As I count down, if he has one of these movies on his list, he'll, let us know, hey, I got this a little bit higher on my list, and we'll wait and see where it pans out on his. But we'll take a second, and we'll talk a little bit about the film and, what we liked, what we maybe didn't like, and kind of give a little synopsis there. I'm going to go ahead and just throw out a little spoiler alert warning there for people, just because most of these films at this point are starting to come out on Blu-ray and DVD already.
Yeah.
I mean, summer's over. Hopefully, if you've wanted to see any of these movies, you've seen them already by now. A majority of them are already hitting, except for a couple of the movies from August, but everything else is pretty much already hitting Blu-ray. So, we want to be able to talk about the movies, and, we won't get into super big details, but I'm just going to throw it out there just in case. So, let's get counting down. I'm going to start.
Well, before we do that, I mean, I just want to say that the positions of these movies doesn't necessarily mean that if they're bottom of the list means that they're terrible movies. It just means that maybe I felt, or Don DX here felt differently where they belong. Matter of fact, I might like a movie that didn't do so well in the theater and it's higher up than a movie that did really good in the theater. It's based on our opinions and how we watched them.
Of course. I mean, this is completely subjective. This is just based on our personal opinion. And he's right. I mean, I have a movie pretty high up on my list that is considered one of the biggest bombs of the entire summer.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. It's not about box office. It's not about, how did the critics like it. This is about what we took away, where we like it. And I will say, for the majority of the movies we saw this summer, out of the top, since I saw 20, I would probably say I really enjoyed probably 15 or more of them. It was a pretty decent summer overall. So, yeah, it's true. Just because something's maybe 15 over something that I have at number 10, they could be pretty damn similar. I might have even given them the same grade on my star scale. It's just kind of the overall, how did we like it when everything was said and done? Where does it kind of lie? Which one would I want to pop in and kind of watch more than the other?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it breaks down. Doesn't necessarily mean it was complete garbage. I'll let you know if it's pretty much complete garbage. And that's where I'm going to start at number 20. And that's going to be with my biggest garbage film of the summer. And I'm disappointed to say this because when we did our Am I Still in the Air earlier in the year and we counted down our most anticipated films, I'm pretty sure this one was on my most anticipated list. I was really happy and excited for this one, and it turned out to just be a movie. I'm going to go with Independence Day Resurgence. This is number 20 for me at the very, very bottom of my list. I hated this movie. I just thought it was very just blah. And I love the original Independence Day film. I really do. Will Smith, of course, was a big selling point of that film, and we did not get Will Smith on this new one, and that I think really hurt it, to be honest. It was just too much. It was over the top. It had kind of like a Wall-E, like alien ship come down, and they tried to make it something that it just didn't work out, honestly, and this turned out to just be a cluster. It was 20 years too late, and I don't think we're going to get another one. I know they left this one a little open for a third film, but it didn't make the money it needed to make, and I think, the reviews were very rotten on this one. So, yeah, Independence Day Resurgence is at the bottom of my list at number 20.
Yeah, I'll just save as the time. It's at the bottom of my list, too. Is
it 16 for you?
Yeah.
So there you go. See, look at that.
Start at 15, you and me, when you get to 15.
There you go.
It's garbage. Not only was it just poorly written, and I'll tell you this, my youngest kid loved it because he likes things like that, but it's not what it was promised. You can't have that much hype build up to a movie and then get what we got. It was boring. And a lot of times it shouldn't have been boring at all, and it didn't make any sense. It was just all over the place. You reminded me, and this is all I'll say to it. You could disagree or agree. It felt like a cheesy sci-fi version of the original movie on Netflix. Like it was like Independence Day or something.
I said that to you when we left. That it felt like a Sci-Fi Channel movie. Not even Netflix. This was a Sci-Fi Channel movie. Like the two-headed piranha shark was about to jump out and help fight the aliens. Like it was just
awful.
Not good at all, and it sucks because I was really hyped for this. I loved the trailer. I was so stoked at the massive ship just crushing the atmosphere as it was coming in, and it just looked like it was going to be a fun popcorn ride, and it ended up being the worst movie of the summer for me. I think I only gave this one 2 stars, and that was being generous. So
I gave it 1. You were being really generous. I'll tell you what, that scene where the ship's coming through is the best scene in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So if you're 10 years old, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Other than that, don't see it.
There
Don't
you
waste your time.
Exactly. So moving on, that was my number 20. Coming in number 19 for me is The Nice Guys. I thought this movie was pretty good. I enjoyed it for what it was. I would honestly probably would never care to watch it again. Just being honest, like I mean, I had a decent time in the theater with it. It had some good laughs. I thought the acting was really good. I actually thought the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and what's his nuts, Russell Crowe, was pretty good. I thought they played off pretty well with each other. But overall, it was just kind of one of those films that I walked out and I said, okay, cool. I enjoyed it, and I kind of forgot about it a couple weeks later, and I would, like I said, would never really care. I maybe would stop and watch a couple minutes of it if I was flipping through the channels and it was on HBO or something, but I wouldn't go out of my way for sure, and I definitely wouldn't buy this one. But not like I said, this is where we kind of get into the whole like just because it's lower on the list doesn't mean it's garbage. This is not a garbage film. I enjoyed it. It was good, but that's about all I got on that one.
It's higher up on my list, and we'll get to that when it gets there. I kind of really, the more I think about it, the more I like this movie. I even kind of like it more maybe now than I did when I first walked out of the theater. I just like the chemistry of the two characters. I really liked Russell Crowe in that movie. He really, I mean, I can't even say like he carried the movie because them together really. I mean, like the part where he's like, I don't have an ankle holster because he dreamed it. I don't know. Something about that movie. I really like that movie a lot. I feel like it had just enough action. It had just enough comedy. I don't even know what genre it is. Maybe it's a buddy cop genre. But I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I think it was better than a few of the other movies that are underneath it to me. But I like certain period shows, and this was one of the periods I like in time. So, yeah.
Yeah, see, and that probably hindered it for me because I don't like
Yeah.
period pieces, and like being that this took place in the 70s, I think took away from me. If this was set in a modern day text, I think I probably would have liked it a lot more. So there we go. There, coming in number 18 for me is Warcraft. This, of course, was the video game adaptation. I never played World of Warcraft. I was never into the games at all. The most fun I've ever had with this franchise was the South Park episode. That was about the best thing I've had with it. What I will say with it is, I know, I just don't like these types of films. It falls into that like Lord of the Rings kind of category for me, which I can't stand. But I will give Warcraft this, that when I walked out of Warcraft, I said, that didn't suck. And I enjoyed it for what it was. I, gave it like 3 out of 5. I thought it was good. Another one I probably wouldn't care to watch again. It just, it's definitely got some pretty bad moments, but it has some pretty decent action moments too. So it was, decent enough to make number 18 here.
It's higher up on my list, but of course, I guess everything will be higher up on my list to start at 15. I liked it. I mean, it's like a 3 out of 5 movie for me. Like my wife's a big fan of the game. I stopped playing the game. I don't know, like 2 expansion packs in. So but I played a lot of the war games, and to me, it reminded me a lot of the first war game and the excitement of World of Warcraft. So it gave me that. The visual effects were awesome. So I liked it. It's higher up on the list. But, of course, I like fantasy movies like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, that's where we differ a lot in those kind of movies. So, obviously, mine's going to be higher up than yours probably. I mean, I'll watch cheesy fantasy movies. So, that's me, Dragonheart and stuff like that. But, we kind of vary on some of the genres we like. And I think I like those genres a lot more than you do.
Yeah, for sure. Easily. Coming in number 17 for me, and I don't think you saw this one, Pat, but I'm going to give this one to The Secret Life of Pets.
Nope, that's it.
Yeah, so this was one of those family movies that went with the wife, went with the kids. I had my daughter sitting on my lap the whole time watching this one. But I'll tell you, I mean, I really did want to see this movie, which is very rare for me. I mean, even with a kid, my wife usually handles the kiddie movies. I just don't care. They don't really do much for me, for the most part. But from the very first trailer we saw like a year ago for Secret Life of Pets, I was in. I'm a big pet lover. I love cats. I love dogs. I love all pets. And, it was really, really, the first trailer just had me rolling with what do these pets do after their owners leave and go to work. And it's a really cute movie. I mean, it really, really was. I didn't uber love it. It didn't pay off like I hoped the trailer would, because the movie kind of, it only does that whole like, what do we do when the owners go away kind of thing for a very small period of time in the film, and then they kind of have this whole wacky adventure they go on, which I thought kind of wasn't really what the trailer sold me on. So I lost a little bit of it, but it's still got a lot of funny moments, and just seeing how they nailed the character attributes of the different animals was really, really cool. So yeah, Secret Life of Pets comes in number 17, and I think this was a little special for me too, because I'm pretty sure this is the first one I saw with my daughter in the theater, actually. So
Yeah.
so that was kind of cool, because I've never taken her. My wife has taken her to a couple movies, but this was the first time for me, and kind of sitting in a theater with her and watching this movie. So that was pretty cool. So I'm going to move on, since he didn't see this one. I'm going to jump right into number 16. And I'm sad it's number 16, because based on the trailer, this was another one that I was like, this is going to be one of the funniest and best movies of the summer. And it only falls at number 16 for me, and that's Sausage Party. It was a funny movie, but it wasn't nearly as funny as I had hoped it to be. The trailer had me in tears when this first Red Band trailer dropped. I was like, this is going to be incredible. Talking food, the hot dogs are cussing. Once you see that shit, it's gonna fuck you up for life. I mean, the trailer was just hilarious, man. And like, just seeing like what happens. The food thinks they're going to heaven. They're off to the promised land when they're bought at the store, and little do they know they're about to get ate and ripped to shreds by the humans. And the concept was so cool, but the execution of it, I felt, kind of fell a little bit lower than what it should have. It definitely has some really big highlights and some really good laughs, but then it's got a lot of other stuff that you're just scratching your head going, that didn't probably work as well as what they thought it did. So, I still liked it, but man, I really anticipated this to be like a 5-star, I can't stop laughing kind of movie, and it really didn't turn out to be that. So, Sausage Party comes in at number 16 for me.
Yeah, it's a little low, it's low on my list. It's a little higher than 16. Um, I think it gave me enough of what I needed, but like you said, it fell short of what I expected. And to be honest, there's a lot of different undertones in the movie that I just don't think worked. And the ending to me, I mean, after the food sex scene, after that, where it was like, hey, let's go into the other universe, that was just kind of ended lame for me on that aspect.
See, I like that part, and I think that's what's going to lead into the sequels. We're going to get this like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, animation live action hybrid film, which is going to be
that might save it. That might save it for me then once I see that movie. But as it is for now, I think there was a lot of. I mean, I laughed so hard at the trailers, just so hard, and then I laughed hard during the movie. But there was periods where I was like, yeah, that didn't work as well, and that was a little over the top. And so, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think, what did you give it? 3 out of 5?
I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I think it was good. It's a good movie. I'd watch it again. I don't know. Maybe I would. I think I would.
I would watch it again, but
I'd have to have like the kids all in bed.
Well, of course.
But yeah, I would probably watch it again, because there's a lot of laughs still to be had in that movie.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we're hitting that 15 mark now. I'm going to go ahead and do my number 15, because I know Pat doesn't have this one either on his list. This one is The Shallows. That's number 15 for me. This, of course, is the shark movie with Blake Lively, where she goes to this tropical island that, her mom had talked to her about when she was a little kid. Her mom ends up, long story short, she's, of course, passed away, so she wants to go there, like, kind of in tribute for her mom. It's beautiful, but then all of a sudden there's this killer shark going around, and she gets kind of left on this rock, and she can't get off of it, and she's trying, but the shark is circling and trying to eat her. And I'll tell you, man, like, I thought the trailer looked okay, but I really wasn't even going to go to the theater to see this one. And my stepdaughter, actually, who really doesn't even ever ask to go to the movies in the first place, was like, I want to see that movie. I want to see The Shallows. And I was like, really? Like, okay, like, gives me an excuse to get out to the movies again, right? So I'm like, all right, I'll take you. And it was funny because it came out the same weekend as Independence Day Resurgence. And I remember being like, so stoked on Independence Day, and it turned out that The Shallows was such a better movie than Independence Day, which was so, I never in a million years, if you would have told me 6 months ago you're going to enjoy, the Blake Lively shark movie more than Independence Day Resurgence, I would have told you you're crazy. So, as you can see, Independence Day was number 20, this is number 15. I really enjoyed it. It has some good jump scares. I thought the animation of the shark really worked. He was creepy. He was gory. I mean, he went after these people with a furious vengeance. Blake Lively, of course, is beautiful to look at for an hour and a half. So it worked for me. I actually really dug this movie, and if I see it in the $7 bin at Walmart, I will buy this one. So yeah, I mean, it turned out to be a good thing, and my stepdaughter really loved it, even though she spent half of it covering her eyes because she was so freaked out. But it turned out to be a pretty damn decent movie. So The Shallows comes in at number 15 for me.
Well, I have Ghostbusters at 15. I wasn't a big fan of the movie. I would say this: it was fun to watch. The effects were fun. I don't like what they did with the material. I don't like the direction they went in with it. I won't go as far as to say I won't watch it again, because I think I would. I'd watch it again. Because like I said, it's still a fun movie. I would still give it a 3 out of 5, but just as a Ghostbusters movie, I felt like it didn't. It almost felt like a skit to me, a long skit. But it was fun. So it's a 15 because other movies were better, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, I have Ghostbusters higher on my list. I really enjoyed it, actually, and and most of the people that actually went to see it really did. The movie is certified fresh with over 80%. The thing is that not a lot of people went to go see it, and it ended up losing money for Sony, which sucks, because they planned on obviously making this a franchise. They wanted to do sequels, and there's an after credits stinger, and they definitely leave it open for a sequel that kind of directly ties in for like a Ghostbusters 2 type of thing. And I don't think we're going to get it now, and it's unfortunate. This movie kind of had its back against the wall from the very first trailer that dropped. Even really just from the beginning when they cast all women, people were like, "Oh, I can't believe you're doing this, and why would you remake Ghostbusters, and why would you do all females?" And you know what? I thought it worked for me. I mean, it was directed by Paul Feig, who is just an amazing director. He did Spy, he did Bridesmaids. He's a really good director, and he knows how to direct comedy.
I like almost everything he's ever done, and I like all the actors and actresses in this movie. When they casted these actresses, I was excited because I like all the movies. Well, I don't really know much about the black girl in the movie. I think she's on Saturday Night Live, maybe. Yeah. I haven't seen her in any other movie, but the other three I've seen it a lot, and I absolutely love. But I don't know, just it didn't hit on all cylinders for me, I think.
What I feel like, and just my honest opinion, I think I told you this when we walked out of the theater, was, Paul Feig, all of his movies are rated R. And I feel like he had to tone back so much to keep this at a PG-13 rating that I think it probably hurt a little bit. I think if he would have been allowed to kind of let the reins loose and make an R-rated version, it could have been really, really funny. But I thought everybody did a good job of what they were doing. Chris Hemsworth was hilarious in this, and I really dug it. And I'm looking; it comes out on Blu-ray, I believe, next week, and it's an extended, director's cut, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing the extra stuff that they put back in. I'm definitely looking forward to sitting back down and watching it again. I got a lot of good laughs out of it, so it's like I said, it's a little bit higher.
And it's fun if you're looking to escape and have fun. And it's the one thing you could say about it being PG-13 too is your kids can come watch it and enjoy it too. I think my kids would love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh yeah,
so,
my wife, after we went and saw it, my wife later that weekend took my stepdaughter and actually I think a friend of my stepdaughter's to the movies, and they all loved it. So they came home all glowing about it. So so yeah, it's definitely a good family film for sure. So we'll get to that on my list a little bit higher. It's number 15 on his, and it's a little bit up there for me. Number 14 for me is going to be Jason Bourne. This, I once again had super high hopes. I loved the trailer for this. This was, Matt Damon coming back. The trailer was so badass. I was hearing about all this awesome action. and I honestly, it's good, but I found a lot of it to just be boring as fuck. To be honest, like it was just really boring. And I should have known better because most of the Bourne movies are pretty boring for the majority aspect of it. It definitely, they weigh more on the story side than the action side, but they sell it to you based on the action and the trailers and everything. So it's kind of this, bait and switch kind of thing, I feel. Um, it's still enjoyable, but honestly, I was expecting a 4 or 5 star kind of action movie, and I only walked out with a 3 star for me. So in the end, Jason Bourne comes in number 14 on my list.
It's higher on my list. I will say I probably enjoyed it when we walked out. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you, but I kind of like that spy boringness that you don't like, like the James Bond movie we watched last year. So it's kind of, I think, genre again against action maybe, but I do agree. I feel like it was kind of like the first movie just redone. I mean, I felt like I remember thinking this is good, but I've seen this before. Like I felt like it wasn't original. I felt like it was rehashed, but with less action. Like I feel like the first one was better because it had more action, and I seen it again. So I can see why it's lower on your list.
Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's my next job. I'm telling you, I'm gonna every Jason Bourne movie, I'm going to see if I could be that guy. Why are they always shocked? I don't know. It's always there every time. But yeah, I agree. I can understand where it's lower on your list. Again, to me, it was still better than some of the other movies. That's why it's higher on my list. But yeah, again, if you're a Jason Bourne fan, you could see it. I'd wait till HBO or pick it up. I wouldn't buy it outright, maybe, but that's me.
All right, what you got? Number 14.
14 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. You didn't get to see this movie, so that's why it's not in your 14, or it would have been.
Maybe.
Yeah. How do I? Here's the best way to sum this up. It gave me everything I asked for out of the other that it wasn't in the other movie, and I was a big fan of the other movie. I liked it. I just don't think it did it well. So it gave you Krang, gave you Rocksteady and Bebop, it gave you Casey Jones, it gave you the turtles were action packed, they were funny, they were fun. You had more turtles and less of everybody else, which is what I was missing out of the other movie. Although I feel like it was still pretty balanced, the other movie a little better. I just don't think it was done well. And for me, the movie's a 3 out of 5. Your kids will love it. It's worth watching now that it's coming out, but it didn't hit the marks that I needed it to hit. So that's why I ended up with 14 on my list.
All right. Moving on to number 13. Number 13 for me is The Purge Election Year. This is the third Purge movie. Probably my second favorite out of the trilogy. I still enjoyed last year's Purge Anarchy the most, which was basically a Punisher movie, as I always try to sell it to people. Such a great film. This one at least continues that character on in a new setting, and it is election year, so it kind of went with the theme. The main standout though is just that chick going, "I want my candy bar," which turned into a show title for Am I on the Air one week. But it was a good movie. It had the stuff we like about The Purge. This was a good kind of agglomeration of like the first Purge and the second Purge movie kind of turned into this third one. So they kind of gave you elements of both films, and I thought it turned out pretty well. I would have liked to have seen, as much as I love Frank Grillo and I loved him as the Punisher in this series, I liked that what the original concept was going to be, like every Purge movie was kind of be its own story. It was going to be its own standalone kind of thing, taking place in a different state or a different area, and that's what I wanted. The first Purge movie is a straight up kind of horror movie. The second Purge movie is on the road, action film, all kinds of shit going down. I expected a little bit different from the third. but we ended up getting, Frank Grillo back again and kind of continuing that story just set several years later down the road. So I'll be curious to see what they do with the next Purge film. Hopefully this is where they will kind of go off and maybe do something, in Seattle or Michigan, or like they need to change the locale and do something a little bit different. But still a very fun movie. Just came out on Blu-ray this past Tuesday, and I bought it, and it's part of my collection. I now have the Purge trilogy on Blu-ray, so it was good, but it only is good enough to earn the number 13 spot for me.
Yeah, it's higher. Now, this is surprising for me because you know how I feel about horror movies. It's actually higher on my list. And when I was doing the list, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it more than other movies. Now, this is my first Purge movie, too. I haven't seen the other two. I'm pretty sure I denied the pleasure of my company during those two movies when you went and saw them because they were horror movies. And now I kind of wish I didn't on those because, like, I actually enjoyed this movie more than I thought. I really went in thinking, this is going to be one of those I'm going to go in for DX because I don't really like these movies. And I do that every once in a while I just go to a movie I know I'm not going to like. And I came out really liking this movie. It was my introduction to The Purge, so I'm scared of going backwards now because, like, are they all going to be this big and elaborate and good? And I don't know. I think, like, the first one, I remember the trailer where they're, like, in someone's house. And
the first one is all central in a house that is closed down, locked up for the Purge night, and these people try to break in.
Yeah.
So I mean, that one's more of a straight up horror movie. I'm telling you would love the second one because that is a straight up Punisher movie, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So this one's good. It was not just all jump out scares either. Which is the trope for a lot of horror movies these days, and one of the reasons why I don't like them, I don't really feel like it really scares me that much often. But this had some moments in it, and this had some real, like, moments in it where you were like, I like these characters. Like, normally in a horror movie, like, I don't get attached to anybody; they're all dead, right? But you get attached to people in this movie, and you're right. Frank what's his name? Frank Grillo. Yeah. He's really good in this. Like, you really like. And to be fair, it doesn't really always focus on him in this. There is some other characters it focuses on, which surprised me because I thought it would be just like from his point of view, like a London Has Fallen kind of thing, like he was going to be the main star. But it switches back and forth against other characters, and you get a good broad story of what's going on in this city. And you kind of care about what happens to the store owner in the store, and then the sacrifices people make throughout the movie mean something. So for a horror movie, it actually made it higher on my list, which may never happen ever again until they make another Evil Dead movie.
Yeah. We'll see. What you got at number 13?
My number 13 was Sausage Party, so we can move along.
All right. And my number 12 is Ghostbusters. So we can keep it trucking there.
Nice Guys is my number 12.
Oh, nice. See? So we're catching up here. We're going to make some ground. Coming in number 11 for me is Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising. So Neighbors 2 comes in number 11. I was really looking forward to this film. I am a massive fan of the original film. I thought it was just so hilarious, and I really, really dug it. So when I saw they were making a sequel, I was down. Instead of a fraternity, they had a sorority. On this one, Chloe Grace Moretz. I mean, kind of a lot of the same beats as the original film, just kind of flipped around gender-wise. But it was cool, like with the role Zac Efron played and how he kind of switched sides, and it was still really funny. It's not as good as the original film is. I mean, the original Neighbors, I gave a 5 out of 5. I died laughing at that movie. I gave this one 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I've watched it again since, and I still laugh my ass off at it. So, like I said, just to come in at number 11 doesn't mean it's bad in any sort of the way. It's just how it kind of lined up. But I really dug this movie, and it's number 11 for me.
Well, oddly enough, it's my number 11 too.
Woohoo! I love when that works out.
I actually never watched the first one, so I was really kind of leery going into it, like, am I going to understand what's going on? But really, it doesn't matter if you never understood. It kind of plays it out for you that these two guys were against each other in the first movie, and now they team up. And it's not only funny, I think it's unique. It kind of brings on the, like, normally when you jump from one comedy, then it kind of goes over to like the second comedy. It doesn't normally play off pretty well. Like, you're kind of worried about it because it's a sequel to a comedy. It could be its own movie. It was just really good. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. It's a sad that it's number 11 on my list because I laughed pretty hard in this movie. There were some moments. Just to me, some of the other movies were higher to it, and that's where it ended up falling.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, coming to number 10. I know you don't got this one on your list because no matter how hard I tried to get him to go, he wouldn't do it. So number 10 for me is Don't Breathe. This dude needs to stop laughing every time I mention this movie because he didn't see it and he doesn't know. This movie has made over $100 million on a $10 million budget because everybody keeps going to see it because it was that good of a film. This is a 4-star movie right here. Super suspenseful. Stephen Lang was incredible at this. Just really edge of your seat the entire time. Twists and turns. Just awesome. This movie came completely out of nowhere. I remember I don't even think I saw the first trailer until July, and the movie came out in August, and I was like, what the hell, Don't Breathe? Where did this movie come from? And the buzz started, and people were saying it's one of the best movies of the year, and it certified fresh, like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, it's just a really good, tense thriller of a movie. My brother-in-law went and saw this with me. He wouldn't even classify this as a horror movie. He would say, it's a thriller. And, I put it kind of in the middle. It still falls under the horror category, I feel, but it is definitely just more of a thriller than anything else. And I really do think that Geeky Pat over here would enjoy it if he'd actually sit down and watch it.
I just laugh at the title because it just sounds silly. I actually do want to see it. I just didn't want to go to the theater to see it. It's made by the guys who made the Evil Dead. And I love the Evil Dead movies, and they're dumb as hell, and I love them.
Well, it's the new Evil Dead.
Yeah. But, I like that one too, though. I like that one, even though it was more serious.
Very serious.
I will see it. I mean, you're going to buy it, and I'll either borrow it or come watch it with you. I just didn't want to go to the theater and pay money to see it.
So there you go. So that's number 10 for me. What you got at number 10?
My number 10 was Jason Bourne, so we can move on.
Alrighty then. Well, my number 9, I know he doesn't have on his list either because it's another horror movie that he refused to go to, and I honestly never in a million years expected this to crack my top 10, but it did, and I'm talking about The Conjuring 2. I actually didn't care super much for the first one. I thought
to be fair, it's one of the reasons why I didn't want to go see the second one is the first one did so horrible.
Well, I mean, you can't say it did horrible because it was a massive hit. That's why
everybody I talked to hated it. That's all I know.
See, that's funny because it's a very highly rated film. I felt like I was one of the only people that was saying they didn't care for it that much, and everybody else loved it. But yeah, I just I saw it when it came out, the original one, and I said, that was okay, and that was where I left it. It was okay for me. So the second one's coming out, and I'm kind of like, do I want to watch the second one? I don't know. But I really dug the trailers, and I thought it looked really good, so I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. I absolutely loved this movie. It is so much better than the original film. This thing was creepy as hell. It actually gave me goosebumps several times throughout it to where I was like, holy shit, I'm actually having a reaction to this film. It's something that I just doesn't happen at all very much for me anymore these days. I'm so, just to all these kind of things these days. So it really tripped me out that I was actually having a reaction, and some of the visuals they did, and James Wan is just such a good, visual director. I can't wait to see what he does with Aquaman because he's so good from a horror standpoint, and of course he did a great job with Fast 7 last year too, and he's a great director, and he did some really cool things with this one, and I just really, really dug it. So yeah, Conjuring 2 for me comes in at number 9. So what you got at number 9?
Purge the election year so we can keep going.
All right. Good. I'm glad it's working out that way because I feel like we're going to match up more as we get closer. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So coming in at number 8 for me is Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. I loved this movie. It was hilarious. This was another one of those, like, I saw the trailer and I really laughed a lot, but I was like, man, I hope all the laughs weren't in the trailer. Like, this could disappoint me. And honestly, we went and saw it, and I was dying laughing the whole time. It's got a lot more laughs in the trailer. It actually had a lot of things in the trailer that when you saw the movie, the joke was switched up, or they didn't use the one from the trailer, and they went with a different kind of joke.
Yeah.
So that was really cool because they kind of switched it up for you, and I loved it. I mean, this movie is just hilarious, and this one also just came out on Blu-ray last week, and I got it, and so I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching it again because I thought it was a really funny movie. So, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates is number 8 for me.
It's actually a little higher on mine because I really laughed. I just laughed a ton in that movie. I mean, there was very few parts that I wasn't laughing in that movie, and I can't remember. There's very few movies I think I've watched in the last couple of years where I almost had asthma attacks and died, and that was one of them. So it's really higher up in my list. Zac Efron, dude. I mean, he found his niche because he is hilarious. I mean, and the guy that he's with, what's it? I can't remember his name now. The other guy. What's the other guy? He's really good at just coming off the cuff.
Adam Devine.
Devine, yeah, the guy from what's the one where they're all anyway they're all tech guys. I watched that show.
Workaholics.
There you go. He's awesome.
He's awesome on Modern Family as the Manny.
Yeah, that's right. He's the Manny. And the girls are pretty funny too. I mean,
they were.
And there was moments where you were like, "Oh, I feel bad for them." You know, I mean, it had more than just laughs. So, all in all, it was a well rounded out movie, and I don't think there was one part of the movie I didn't enjoy. So it's higher on my list than maybe some of the other ones, but definitely a great movie. I think I gave it 4 out of 5. I think you may give it.
Yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5.
Oh, 4 out of 5, yeah.
Yeah. I think these are all pretty much going to be 4-star movies as we get higher on the list.
Yeah,
for
I think so too.
As we get higher. So yeah, so that's my number 8. What you got at number 8?
Pop Star, Never Stop Stopping. I love Adam Sandberg, and this movie was funny, and it was. Unfortunately, some movies were just a little better. This is one of those moments where it was like this kept getting low. I started it high, and then it just kept getting lower as other movies was put in. Because of my enjoyment level. But I actually like this movie, and it's one that I think I might even pick up as far as a comedy goes, because it was just really good. It was really funny. It was really enjoyable. There's little nuggets in there that you don't even notice that's funny, like the girl eating the poop brownies in the background, and like, there's like jokes within jokes. It was just a really good movie. Unfortunately, I felt like Mike and Dave was better than it, and some other movies, but I really liked it, and I don't know. I think I gave this one a 4 out of 5 as well.
And it's a perfect segue into my number 7, because my number 7 is Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. I absolutely love this movie. This was one of the funniest movies of the summer, of the year for me. I've actually watched it again since. I bought it on Blu-ray. I love this movie. And when I told you at the beginning of the show that one of my top movies was one of the biggest bombs of the summer, that was this movie. Right
Yeah,
here.
right? I can't believe it bombed.
Yeah, I mean, it was made on like $10 or $15 million budget, and it only made like 10 million, I think, like worldwide. Like I don't know what happened, man. It just kind of came out and no one went to see it. But it got excellent reviews. It's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, everybody loved it that saw it. I just don't understand why more people didn't go see it. It is hilarious. It's the movie from The Lonely Island. It's produced by Judd Apatow, who is one of the gods of comedy.
Yeah,
Andy Samberg, who is just so good and is on such a roll lately, especially in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I love
Of
Brooklyn
course,
Nine-Nine.
Lonely Island, and then this movie here, where it's this music, documentary, mockumentary, of this like group of these 3 boys together. They break up. The one goes solo. He becomes super popular, and then his ego gets too big. This movie's just hilarious. It's got so many cameos. The way it flows and the reactions of people, and I mean the cameos that pop up, the original songs that they have in this thing.
Oh, it's like, the credits. The credits is so awesome.
Dude, just the whole thing,
they play all the songs to the critics. It's so awesome.
It's so good. It is such a hilarious movie. Not enough people saw it. Go out and see it. You can tell that it's on both of our top 10 lists right there. My number 7, his number 8. So, I mean, it is. I just love it. Love. Yeah. All right, moving into number 6. I'm gonna go.
I have
here.
to do my number 7.
Oh shit! Sorry,
That's
I forgot
okay.
that we blended that one there.
It's Warcraft, so go on.
Oh, there you go, Warcraft. Damn, you got that up high. All right.
I mean, I like fantasy movies. Like I told you, I think it's just genre specific stuff that mine are gonna be higher. I think when I get to my last 4, you're gonna be like, really?
Well, my number 6, I have a feeling is going to be way up higher on your list, but my number 6 is going to be Star Trek Beyond.
Oh yeah, way higher.
So, Geeky Pat over here is the Star Trek guy. And I'm not a big Star Trek guy, but I like the rebooted franchise. I love the first one. I really loved Into Darkness, and this one was really good as well. Just really good story, really good characters. Didn't appreciate the starship getting blown up in like the first 10 minutes of the movie and not having that for the rest of the film, when I feel like that starship is such a big factor point for me.
It's a character in itself.
Exactly, and when you kill off one of your main characters early in the movie, it kind of sucks. But you know what? This was the first one directed by Justin Lin, who did all the Fast and Furious movies, and he did a great job here, stepping into J.J. Abrams' shoes, keeping up the flow. Everybody killed it. I really liked it. I've already pre-ordered this one on Amazon on Blu-ray. Comes out in November, and I'll add it to the collection. So I really enjoyed it. Comes in number 6 for me, Star Trek Beyond.
I absolutely love this movie. It's way high on my list, and I love the other two. For the record, the Enterprise gets blown up and almost are destroyed or crashed in almost every movie. But bullshit. Anyway, so we kind of get used to it as Trekkers or Trekkies, whatever you want to call yourself. But to me, this out of the 3, and I love the other 2. I really did. I cried during the second one, cried. So there you go. The third movie is the most Trekky movie to me. It's the most Star Trek movie. I really like the direction and the way everything was, and the characters and the actors. It was just really funny. It had a sadness to me because there was, for me, it had like a bittersweetness to me because we lost Leonard Nimoy and we lost I know the kid's name. I just brain farted. The Chekhov character. Yeah. What's his name? Come on, Don, help me. You can't remember either.
I'm spacing it now.
Yeah,
you're making me look bad.
He's a great actor, and I didn't plan on talking about this, but it just came to me just now. Like, it's bittersweet because of that.
Anton Yelchin.
Anton, that's his name. Yeah, great actor. Everything he's been in, I've liked. And so it was sad to me because that character's gone now. And they're not going to recast, and they're not going to do any. I don't know how they're going to explain it in the next one, but. So it was bittersweet. He killed it in this one. He was awesome in this one. And I kind of missed Leonard Nimoy's little cameo, The villain was awesome. I need to stop because I'll just gush. I'll just geek gush, and I need to stop. But great movie. Pre-order it. If you could find it in the cheap theater, just go watch it again.
I'll tell you, they did a really cool way to pay respect to the Leonard Nimoy Spock character in the movie too, and the way they handled it was really, really well. So I definitely enjoyed that. All right, so go. You're number 6.
My number 6 was Mike and Dave. So told you it's actually pretty high up there. So.
All right. Well, coming in my number 5, it's actually, I think, the last movie I have that you did not see this summer. And I still don't remember why you didn't go to this one with us, because this one looked awesome and you didn't go. But number 5 for me is War Dogs. I love this movie. It was so good. It was based on a true story of these 2 guys that became arms dealers, and they sold arms to the military, and they end up having to go overseas and deal with all kinds of shit, and it had action, and it was hilarious. It had drama. It was thrilling. I mean, it really hit on so many different levels for me. Jonah Hill killed it. I mean, some people were even mentioning he might even get an Oscar nomination for this one. Miles Teller is hit and miss with me, but I thought he was excellent in this as well. I really, really liked War Dogs way more than I ever would have imagined I would. I liked the trailer. I was anxious to see it, but I walked out saying, man, that really blew me away, and that was way better than I ever would have imagined. So War Dogs is number 5 for me. Yeah,
it saddens me I didn't get to see it. Actually, if you remember, I had some scary medical news that, by the way, turned out to be nothing, but my wife and me wanted to be home and, kind of thing. So that's why we didn't go that weekend. And actually, I regret not seeing it. It was a really good movie. As far as what everyone who's seen it has loved it, so it looked good.
All right, what you got number 5?
My number 5 was Central Intelligence. I almost wanted to put it above the one I have at 4. It was a really hard decision for me. I love The Rock anyway, but like for me, I honestly didn't know how much I was gonna like this movie. I thought it looked good. The trailer looked awesome. It blew away all my expectations of this movie. They had the best chemistry I've ever seen of two people on screen. I loved every minute of the movie. Uh, the things that it needed fixing on it didn't hurt the movie much. I mean, it still was a 4 to 5 for me. Uh, but I loved it. I laughed. I enjoyed it. I liked the characters. I liked how when I first went into this, I was thinking that Hart was going to be the comic and Dwayne the Rock Johnson was going to be the straight guy, and they totally flipped it on you. Like you know, it just shows you their acting chops that Kevin was able to be the straight guy and Dwayne was the funny guy, and it was outstandingly great. So I'll let you get into it more, but totally love this movie. That's why it made it on all the way up to number 5 on my list.
All right. Well, once again, I will segue your 5 into my number 4 because number 4 is Central Intelligence. This movie is awesome. One of the best movies of the summer. Had me rolling from start to finish. The chemistry between The Rock and Kevin Hart was incredible. These guys loved working together too. Now they're filming Jumanji. They want to do other stuff together because they created a really cool friendship. You can tell they loved working with each other. So there's some really funny YouTube clips of them just doing like promotional work like on Central Intelligence, like just trying to get the word out on the movie, and you could just tell that they really like each other's company. This just worked, man. Like, The Rock playing this little frumpy dude who got picked on in high school, and then 20 years later just being this awesome CIA agent, but who still has like this mentality of this little kid because he was such a loner. He never really got to mature, and that's what made this character so cool being played by The Rock, because seeing The Rock do just a straight up comedy like this along with the action. Kevin Hart is always hilarious, but he was more toned back on this movie, which worked for him to play off of The Rock. And there's some really cool cameos that pop up in this one, and it's super, super funny. This just came out on Blu-ray last week too, in an unrated cut, and I can't wait to see that. It's got like an extra 10 minutes or so. Definitely want to rewatch. I've actually already seen the movie 3 times, so I'm looking forward to watching it again for a 4th time in an unrated version. So
I think I see it twice in theaters. I think I took the family to see it again.
Yeah, I saw it with you, and then I rewatched it again with the wife, and then we watched it here at home, and before it actually came out on Blu-ray. So now, I'll watch it again with the unrated cut. So yeah, so that's my number 4 there. So what is your number 4?
My number 4 is X-Men Apocalypse. I will say that for me, it was a love-hate relationship. I loved more than I hated, though. It's a 5 out of 5 movie completely. It was a hell of a ride. I like the characters. It continues the movie genre forward of the X-Men story. My problems, and this is going to sound and Peeps, I love you, it's going to sound very Peeps-like. My problems was with Apocalypse more than anybody else in the movie. Everybody else seemed great. I felt like they chumped Apocalypse out in the movie. But ultimately, go see this movie. It's an X-Men movie. It's awesome, and everything from the part where how they even humanize Magneto even more to even just kind of Apocalypse's appearance still comes off pretty menacing. So I mean, it's still a really good movie, and I still think it's a 5 out of 5. That's why it's number 4 on my list. If you're an X-Men fan, or if you liked any of the X-Men movies, you're gonna absolutely love this movie.
All right, and I'm going to once again segue your number 4 into my number 3, being my number 3, X-Men Apocalypse. So, we're just kind of one off from each other each time. So, it just goes to show once again, I loved X-Men Apocalypse. I've seen it twice. I really, really dug it. I love the Wolverine cameo. I
Yeah.
loved the introduction of all the New Mutants. I love the extended, Quicksilver scene that we got in this one.
Oh, I love Quicksilver.
I mean, it's just really good. And like you said, even just the one moment of Magneto and that whole thing of him just trying to live his life, and then his daughter accidentally gets hit with an arrow, and then he just goes ballistic. I mean, it fucking had me in tears. Like
Yeah.
during that scene, I was like, "Oh my God, kill him
Kill them
all!"
all.
It was just such an emotional moment of the movie. I mean, everything just kind of came together. It's not as good as Days of Future Past, but I thought it was a worthy follow up. It gave us a turn into the next era of X-Men. We got into the 90s, and I really really enjoyed it. So
Bald Xavier.
Bald Xavier finally. So X-Men Apocalypse number 3 for me. What you got at number 3?
Captain America: Civil War.
Wow. Okay.
I know. I told you you'd be surprised when we started getting to the top of these. Captain America: Civil War, again, it has nothing to do with it being a bad movie. It's a 5 out of 5 movie. I have all these 5 out of 5 movies here at the top, and it's hard for me. So I had to figure out what I enjoyed more to watch when I watched it. There's nothing short of greatness in this movie. It is awesome, and what plot issues there is common for the genre. It's a comic movie. It just fell out. I mean, come on, that airport scene. The airport scene, though, come on. It's like the best scene in any comic book movie. It's really good. It just didn't stand up for me to the other two. Maybe as a geek. Obviously, now Star Trek's above those two, but it was really good. It was a really great movie. It just fell at number 3 for me. And I love every actor and every person in this. There wasn't like it was bad acted anywhere. I had to pick where it fell for me, and that's where it fell.
All right. Number 3. All right. Well, it's higher for me, so we'll wait on and we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm going to jump right into my number 2, which for me is Suicide Squad. So Suicide Squad comes in number 2. The next movie in the DC cinematic universe, following up after Batman v Superman, bringing together the Squizard. I really like this movie. I saw it a second time and ended up liking it even more.
Me too. Yeah.
I loved it the second time. I don't know what the hell the main difference was. We saw it opening night in IMAX 3D.
I know, and
it was
I didn't see
incredible.
it that way the second time, and I liked it more the second
I
time.
didn't either, but I think what it was is just, sometimes your expectations kind of level out, and then when you can just sit back and enjoy it for what it is, that second time you just respond differently, and that's what I did with this one. I responded differently and absolutely loved it. I really loved it the first time too, but I absolutely loved it and found myself having a tremendous amount of fun with it the second time. I thought Margot Robbie was incredible as Harley Quinn, just so
yes.
good. I really like Jared Leto's Joker. I wish there was more of it because it was hard to judge how good he was because he wasn't in it enough. But when he was in it, I was captivated. The Batman cameos were awesome. I liked how they brought in the dialogue of now that Superman's gone, and they followed in the lines of it following Batman v Superman, bringing together the squad at what everybody could do. Villain, I wish we would have had a little bit of a better villain. That was one of my biggest, negatives about the film, was that they advertised it, as Enchantress was like part of the Suicide Squad, and then she ends up being like the villain, and then with her like Egyptian brother, and then who's all weird and didn't make any sense as what villain he was. They kind of just stretched a little bit out the box. And, we had a really cool Flash cameo in there, but then by the end of the film, you're like, why wouldn't Flash have come and helped out? Like, with this ginormous laser shooting into the sky and all kinds of shit. Where was Batman? Where was Flash? Where was these guys, but it can't take away from the joy I had with this thing. I just, like I said, loved it the first time, really loved it the second time, and it was my second favorite movie of the summer. So number 2 for me. What you got?
Well, I'll talk about it when we get to. I'll talk about this movie when we get to it for me. But number 2 is Star Trek Beyond for me.
All right. So, by process of elimination, I think you guys can guess where we're at. With our number ones here. So I'm gonna go with Suicide Squad being your number one movie of the summer.
Absolutely.
So since we're just talking about it, why don't I just flow it to you? Why don't you go ahead and just talk about Suicide Squad? Since we're
There's really no part of this movie I didn't love. I think the first time I did leave a little. I think the first time I left, it was a 4 out of 5 in my mind. I think it didn't resonate as well. By the second time I watched it with the kids and everything, again, I watched it in like normal theater. It wasn't like 3D anything or IMAX anything. And oh my goodness, I think I left it as a 5 out of 5 out of that one. It was just so much better to me. And I actually got to see more things in the scenes. And I did see the little like onesie that you talked about. And there was just so much intricacies into this movie. And Jared Leto killed it for me, but like I can't tell you if he's the best Joker or if he's going to be a great Joker. But he's a creepy Joker, and he plays the part very well. But even everybody, I can't think of one person. Oh, Slipknot, he was awesome. He had a great part in the movie. He did a lot for the team.
Very underrated.
Yeah, he got way underrated. He should have been in more trailers. Okay, so maybe he's the only thing in this movie I thought, what the hell? Why even? But there was some funny scenes. There was great scenes. I liked who they casted for everybody. I know some people didn't like Rick Flag. I know, but he's actually the fourth choice or third choice, but I think he did outstanding. It's just, I liked it. I liked every part of it. It was funny. It was sad. It was awesome. It was action packed. So for me, when I really think about, it was really hard between the top 3 because I really like Captain America, but there was parts of Captain America, didn't live up to the other 2 for me. And so I would definitely have to put this at my number 1.
All right, big stuff there. So, once again, process of elimination. For me, my number 1 film of the summer is Captain America Civil War. I just absolutely love this film. I mean, it was the most fun at the movie theater over the summer. Really just, Marvel, what can I say, man? They're really just killing it right now. When you go into a Marvel film, you're going to get something pretty damn cool. And which gets me very excited for Doctor Strange next month.
Yeah.
So it just, I thought they really killed it here, bringing in the 2 different sides, really making this movie an Avengers 2.5, and really, bringing in this law and dividing the teams up. The introduction to Spider-Man, which was just incredible. Tom Holland, with literally just 2 main scenes in the movie, just steals the show. And just, the airport scene, once again, Pat's already touched on it. Airport scene, 18 minutes of just gloriousness.
Glorious.
My daughter is 2, and I could just she'll ask me, Dad, I want to watch Captain America fight. And that's what she wants to see. I want to see Captain America fight. I throw on Civil War. I go straight to the airport scene and I let it ride for 18 minutes. And she's just captivated seeing all of these superheroes bang it out, and especially her favorite Spider-Man come swinging in and doing his thing. So much humor, action, just the way the Marvel does it. Black Panther's introduction, I just thought they killed it, man. And the more I watch this movie, the more I like it. I obviously have it on Blu-ray now. It's just, it's a great addition. It's a great kickoff for Phase 3. And, I just love it.
I will say that this was one of 2 times that I was really, really wrong. Was when they casted him as Spider-Man, I hated it. I just hated it, dude. But when they introduced him, from the moment he stepped off that elevator, I was sold. I was like, I was so wrong about this kid. This guy is Peter Parker. I could see why they casted him. I'm glad they didn't cast who I thought they should have casted. This kid is awesome. And again, I should be in Feige we trust, Yep. But it was amazing. He was amazing. The other time, by the way, since he was in my number 1 movie, was Flash. I did not like who they casted with Flash. Now I was totally wrong. totally wrong. He's going to be a great Flash as well, probably. But I think this one really woke me up. Like, man, they knew what they were doing when they cast it. Because I was like, what the hell? Why would they cast this kid? I've never seen him in anything. I don't know who he is. And his mole killed me. And dude, this guy's awesome. Like, I can't wait to see Homecoming.
Yeah, which just recently finished wrapping up filming a couple days ago, and yeah, I can't wait to see the first trailer for that thing. I can't wait to see, now that we have our Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man, see him go solo, and I can't wait to see him return in a bigger capacity, hopefully in the next Avengers Infinity War film. So I'm very, very excited. So yeah, so that's our countdown. So let's run it through one more time. Pat, why don't you go through from your 16 down in a row here?
We start 16 up, you mean, or 1 down?
16 all the way to your number 1.
Okay. 16, Independence Day Resurgence. 15, Ghostbusters. 14, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. 13, Sausage Party. 12, The Nice Guys. 11, Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising. 10, Jason Bourne. 9, The Purge Election Year. 8, Pop Stars Never Stop, Never Stopping. 7, Warcraft. 6, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. 5, Central Intelligence. 4, X-Men Apocalypse. 3, Captain America Civil War. 2, Star Trek Beyond. And 1, Suicide Squad, a.k.a. Robbie is awesome.
All right, and I got 20, and here we go. Number 20 is Independence Day Resurgence. Number 19 is The Nice Guys. Number 18, Warcraft. 17, The Secret Life of Pets. 16, Sausage Party. Number 15, The Shallows. 14, Jason Bourne. 13, The Purge Election Year. Number 12 is Ghostbusters. Number 11, Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising. Number 10, Don't Breathe. Number 9, Conjuring 2. Number 8, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. Number 7, Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping. Number 6, Star Trek Beyond. Number 5, War Dogs. Number 4, Central Intelligence. Number 3, X-Men Apocalypse. Number 2, Suicide Squad. And number 1, Captain America Civil War. So there is your summer movie countdown. Like we said, most of these are now available on Blu-ray and DVD and digital on demand and all your stuff there. So if you haven't seen any of these, hopefully our little discussions on these films will get you maybe excited to check out something new and fresh. Like I said, for the most part, I think the only ones you don't have available right now are going to be like Suicide Squad, Star Trek, Jason Bourne, and Sausage Party, Don't Breathe. I think those are about the only 5 left that are not available. Every other movie is already available.
Is War Dogs?
No, War Dogs is not. Sorry. So,
darn!
Yeah,
like
I
was
said,
gonna pick that one up.
those August movies are kind of the cutoff there. Everything from May, June, and July has already been released on Blu-ray. So, and these other ones should be falling here. I know, like Ghostbusters, like I said, comes out next week. We just had the Purge Anarchy, or not Purge Anarchy, but Purge Election Year and X-Men Apocalypse came out yesterday, this past Tuesday. Star Trek Beyond is November 1st, I believe. So they're all coming, and just hold tight. They actually just announced today, speaking of Suicide Squad, that there's going to be an extended cut being released on Blu-ray and on demand. It'll be released digitally, I believe, like mid-November, like November 15th, and then on Blu-ray like December 13th or something like that. So, but you can see an extended cut with like 13 more minutes of footage, so that's pretty cool. So look for that. And yeah, so lots of good films. Like we said, I mean, we enjoyed most of these for the most part, so don't take too much of where they kind of fell. It's just which ones do we enjoy a little bit more from the other ones. Like he said, like Pat said, our top 5s are basically all 5-star movies. It's just kind of which ones do you enjoy more than the other ones, basically, when it really comes down to it. So that'll do it for us here on this special edition of Am I Still on the Air? Breaking down and counting down the top movies of the summer of 2016. So I'd like to thank my guest over here, Mr. Geeky Pat. Hey, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
Geeky_Pat on Twitter, and This Week with the Geek on on Facebook. And then this week, GeekyPatBroadcasting.com. See, it's been a while since I broadcasted, so Now it's like I'm all rusty. Not that I was ever good at this part anyway, but
So there you go. You can find him there, Geeky_Pat on Twitter. Follow, and of course you can find his show This Week with the Geek on Red Dragons Radio, and maybe be coming off that hiatus pretty soon here. So keep your
I'm
eyes
hoping.
open. We'll definitely you'll see some tweets from Red Dragons Radio and stuff when it's available again. As for me, of course, follow as always the show at Am I on the Air. You can follow me on Twitter at DXDonMega. Our official webpage is amiontheair.com, where you can listen to our regular show, Am I on the Air, and of course the spin-off episodes like this one here, Am I Still in the Air? Am I Still in the Air? Also available on reddragonsradio.com, and of course on all the other platforms like iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Music Play, etc. So that'll do it for us tonight, counting down summer movies of the box office summer 2016, and till next time, y'all. Peace!
Red Dragons!